Assalamualaikum, greetings of peace. My name is Hafsa and I'm your host for YATA Talks. Today we're talking about academic stress and pressure with Omar Zia, a recurring guest, who is a guidance counselor and a teacher for the Peel District School Board. Thank you so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So just for our viewers who haven't seen our previous episodes, tell us a little bit about you and what you do for the community.
So my name is Omar Zia. I'm a teacher and a guidance counselor with the Peel District School Board. And as a guidance counselor, I support students and their families with academic, social, and emotional supports as well, and then helping them figure out what their pathways will be in the future. Within the community, I'm also a director for DawaNet Canada. One of our major flagship projects is called Muslim Fest, which is a recurring festival we have at Celebration Square in Square One during the summertime, which celebrates the diversity of the Muslim identity through arts and culture, music, and we have a number of displays from a number of vendors around the community and a number of performers from really around the world. And we invite all people of all faiths and backgrounds to come and join us.
Well, you are involved everywhere, and one of your big involvements is in the social working. So as someone who works with teenagers, can you define what academic pressure or academic stress is?
Sure. Well, pressure and stress of any type, it's really where a person is, it's almost like the third law of physics. Everything is on its own course until something just knocks it off the course, right? And that's stress and pressure. Every human being, regardless of our age, we're seen to be moving along, happy, and all of a sudden we get homework in math, and we get homework in science, and then we get homework in geography, and then we get to gym class and we got to do 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups, and I can't do a push-up or a sit-up, right? All of a sudden we have these little pressures and stresses that occur. Those are academic pressures and stresses. We also have pressures and stresses from home. You must be a doctor, lawyer, engineer. You must be a dentist. You can't be a teacher, maybe an accountant, never a police officer, right? All of these pressures exist in terms of defining who we are and how we navigate our life in this world.
So you've defined pressure, but what is a prominent example of pressure that we see and you see in young people today?
So one of the biggest pressures I see as a guidance counselor is when I'm working with students who have to be a certain profession. They have to be a doctor, they have to be a lawyer, they have to be an engineer. We joke about that, but really those top three professions that are often mentioned are cross-culture and cross-faith. And it's because of the pressure that exists from home. For example, a student coming in and saying to me, well, look, sir, I was just in India this past month, and my mother told everybody that I'm going to be a doctor, so now I have to be a doctor. Meanwhile, these types of students who have these pressures from home for a certain career are in the wrong pathway. While they're in school. They are in an academic pathway instead of an applied pathway, meaning that they're getting marks in the 60s and 50s, which will not allow them entry into whether it's going to be college or university. So this causes a lot of anxiety within students, and unfortunately, because parents are not fully aware of what grade 12 physics is like today versus grade 12 physics yesterday, they're not necessarily in tune with the pressures that their kids are facing in school. Not just the academic pathway pressure, but also the pressures around what's actually happening in the curriculum. Like, to give you an example, when I was in high school, we had grade 13. But a few years ago, in the late 90s, they got away from grade 13 and made it to grade 12. The curriculum didn't change. But trigonometry, instead of being grade 11, is now being truncated and pushed into grade 10 math. So I can let you know that most parents looking at grade 10 math will not be able to support their kids. So parents need to be a little bit more realistic with what the curricular demands are on their children, what supports are put in place, and how are they supporting their kids. You can put pressure on somebody, but if you don't get the support, then the pressure will crumble on the person, right? So if we're going to put pressure on a kid or give them some direction where we feel they should go in life, we have to be able to support them the entire time.
So when you talk about academic stress, you talked about how there is kind of a tension between being academic or applied, or you can only be academic or you can only be applied. So why do you think there's such a huge ruckus almost about that you must be academic or you must be applied?
It's actually very shortly ignorance, because most people don't understand the post-secondary system that we have here in Ontario. And we should be. I encourage parents to learn more about this concept. You can go to ontransfer.ca to learn a bit more about the post-secondary world that exists today than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. In the past, you had to take advanced courses or general courses. The advanced courses would take you to university, general courses would take you to college. And that was it, like you said, university or college. And most people have taken that understanding and brought it to today's understanding, but it is not. Academic and applied does not necessarily mean only university, only college. These days, the vast majority of graduates across Ontario are going towards college versus university. Okay, within the Peel region, it's even at 43% and 43%. But across the province, you have just over 50% of people going to college and just under 40% going to university as a provincial average. The reason is because there are more jobs available upon graduation from college with a college diploma. Having said that, those who have the ability to do the university education, especially after completing a college diploma, are better off than going to university and completing an additional 2 years. So within 5 years of a 3-year diploma from a recognized college in Ontario, and then they'll have an additional 2 years of a university degree, which will actually count as a full 4-year university degree. So what I'm advocating here is that if a child is struggling in the academic pathway and they're not getting the marks they need to get to university or college, switch to the applied and college pathway, go to college first, maintain a 3.0 GPA, and then enter university. And then move on to a job from there. Why all this talk about this? Why is that even a possibility? Why should we even think about that or consider it? Number one, Monster.ca 2 years ago, 2016, released a survey where they found that it took an average of 7 years for a university graduate to get a job in their exact field. You look at the stats from university and they'll say, oh, most of our graduates get jobs. Yeah, they get a job waiting tables or working at the gas station or working at Tim Hortons, sure. But a job related to their actual field takes approximately 7 years. I'll give you an example within teaching. It takes approximately 5 years for a teacher to get an actual contract job. In the meantime, they're supply teaching or waiting tables somewhere. Okay? College graduates, on average, the placement rate is 89%, but colleges will tell you specific for every program. For example, Sheridan College Practical Nursing, 94% placement rate. Right? It's very specific because college is designing programs for careers where there is a need in the community, within society. Right? Having said that, some people are concerned that, well, I go to college, but I want to be a manager, I want to be an executive. Great. In order to do that, you do have to have a university degree at most work sites. So in that case, complete your 2 more years of university education, and then you're going to be the most qualified person and the most, probably in hot demand to be hired.
Okay, so there's benefit for both. There's, of course, a good and a bad for each side, and you're saying that we should look more on the good. So when it comes to this pressure and it comes to this kind of stigma against applied and academic and what courses you can take, what effect does this pressure have on kids going into their future?
Confusion. Honestly, that's what it's confusion. To be a teenager today and have to choose from so many different professions, and to live, honestly, in a world where there are now 35 million Canadians living in this country. When I was in high school, there were just under 30 million people living in this country. That makes a big difference because if I think back to when my parents first came to this country in the late 60s, early 70s, there were much less millions of people living within Canada, which means that you could get through high school and post-secondary a lot faster, and there was more demand for teachers and doctors and lawyers and engineers. Mm-hmm. But now a doctor graduating from the universities, it's hard to find a job within the GTA. Most doctors are trying to find jobs outside the GTA, especially those who specialize in like radiology or cardiology or neurology. It's hard to find jobs within the GTA. As our population increases, the types of jobs that are available will change. The number of jobs that are available will also change as well. And in Canada, I understand the government is working hard to avoid the brain drain that happened in the 90s where people had degrees, couldn't find jobs here, and went elsewhere. People, as a government, the Canadian government is working very hard to maintain jobs in various sectors within Canada, so our graduates can stay within the country. But going back to your question about what the pressure is on kids, it's very confusing to make a decision. The advice I would give to kids is don't focus on a career. Stop being stressed out about being doctor, lawyer, engineer. Focus on a problem. Focus on a problem, whether it's in the ecosystem or ecology, whether it's, we need better bridges, we need better civic planning, whether it's we need more biotechnological tools in the hospitals to help our doctors, whether it's to end world poverty, whether it's to support single mothers in society, whatever social or scientific or social science issues that exist within, or psychological issues that exist as problems within our society, do something around solving that. So there are a lot more opportunities for entrepreneurs these days. Entrepreneurial studies is a growing area in many of the fields that support society. So this is a method that I'll encourage our young ones to take a look into and see what they can do. If they're interested in starting something new while they're actually in high school and understanding what entrepreneur means and how to solve problems around the world, there's a great program called Summer Company, where students are actually coached through creating a business model and actually creating a business to support society, whatever ideas they have that can be supportive, in their idea of how they can be better suited to develop a position that helps people in society.
Well, thank you so much for being here again, and it's always a pleasure to have you and have you talk to us about things that are relevant to students and young people. So just really quickly, can you give a message to our viewers who are watching who feel that they need some advice on career pathways and career choices?
So, first of all, when it comes to academic pressures, speak with your teachers, speak with your guidance counselors, and make an informed decision with your parents. And parents who are watching, please make an informed decision around which pathway is best for your child. Don't worry about the pressures from society and what your cousins are doing or what your cousins' kids are doing. Focus on your child and what's best for them. When it comes to choosing careers, focus on problems that exist within society, because the jobs that exist today and will exist tomorrow are far different and look far different than the jobs have existed in the past. The world is changing. We need to change with our students. And students, I highly recommend that you look into taking co-op in your grade 11 year or your grade 12 year or in the summer in between to test out a different career and see, is that really what you want to do in life? Or maybe not. And get a real flavor of what life is like in the real world, what the workplace looks like. Because it might be much different than you think and realize. And that will definitely have a good impact and a strong impact in helping you choose a career that's beneficial for you.
Well, thank you so much for having you again. It's always a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me again.
If you're interested in seeing more videos with Omar Zia, click the links below. If you want to get in contact with him or our team, click the links below as well. Email us your questions so we can answer them on YATA Talks. I'm your host, Hafsa. Thank you for watching.